I'm someone who loves the look of watercolors, but I do not have the time nor the patience to actually paint with watercolor. I live in Costa Rica where it is very wet all the time. I'm in a cloud forest. And so if I get a paper super wet and then spend a lot of time painting, that painting will likely either never dry or end up super moldy. So I have found some alternatives that I like to use to get a watercolor look like this without actually having to use watercolors. And I'm going to share that in this video. I have 3 different tools that I use to achieve this. Once again, there we go. To achieve this watercolor look, and I'll share those with you in this video. A few of them are a little bit more expensive. Most of them are on the cheaper side. I like using both the cheap tools that I have and the expensive ones, and so I'll let you know which ones cost a little bit more as we're going through the video. So if you're like me and you have trouble with watercolors, but you love that watercolor look, then go ahead and watch the rest of this video so you can see how I achieve this, or something like this, without actually having to use watercolors. Okay, what you'll see me using first are these Arteza Real Brush pens. These were gifted to me by a family member, and when I first got them, I didn't think I would actually like them, but I reach for these a lot just to throw down some color real quick. That's what I used in this painting. In the sketchbook, I had just drawn a bunch of hermit crabs, and they were originally just in ink, and I wanted to put a little bit of color, so I grabbed the Arteza brush pens, and you can make them look dry brush. Let's see. Or you can blend the colors like here in these leaves where I have several different greens. And the nice thing about these is you can use them just as they are, or you can dip them in water and you can get a lighter color of the color that they already are here. So this yellow can be pretty bright, but if you dip it in water first, you get a much lighter yellow and it makes it a lot nicer for blending as well. Like I mentioned, these were gifted to me, but as far as I've seen on Amazon and a few other places, they are not too expensive and you get quite a few colors. This color palette is a bit bright for me. A lot of these colors are a little too bright, but when I dip them in the water, they end up looking really nice, and I still use them quite a lot. Okay, in this part, one of the things I love using a lot are water-soluble pastels. I have these Caran d'Ache, just their smaller set. And then I have 2 different options of these eye crayons that I found on Amazon. These are cheaper. They're like $25 for 25 of them, where it's about the same price or more for this smaller set of the Caran d'Ache. I found that I actually reach for these quite a bit. I have a lot of colors, and that's probably why I tend to use them more than the Caran d'Ache. The Caran d'Ache do spread out really nice and vibrant when you use them like watercolors instead of just pastels, like drawing with a crayon. But the way I tend to do art, I actually like that kind of texture of the crayon, and these still spread out really nice as well. So I use them more often than the Caran d'Ache, although I do like the Caran d'Ache too. You'll see me using both throughout this video. Something you also want to know when you use these is to clean off the tips of them. Otherwise, you might have other colors on that get spread around. I think that happens a few times in this video. But after I lay them down, I like to wet a brush and then spread them around a little bit if I don't want that crayon type texture. And for this liquidy type thing, I didn't want that texture, so I'm spreading them around with the water. And here you can see I'm using back and forth between the Caran d'Ache and the eye crayon and spreading these around Works really nice. They end up looking just like watercolors once you actually add the water to them. This part you'll see me using the Derwent watercolor ink pencils. This is just the set of 12 that I have. These are more expensive. I cannot readily find them in Costa Rica. I've seen them in a few places, but they're pretty expensive here as well. So I just got a small 10 to try out. And I tend to use these as a way to draw outlines and then maybe blend those outlines in more than I use them for big color areas. But in this drawing, I do use them to color in the whole bits of corks and other places. So you'll see that and how you can use a brush and some water to spread it around so that it actually looks like watercolor and not just colored pencil. If you happen to live in a very moist area like I do, just know that these will start to crack, unfortunately. I don't think that's anything against Derwent's. All of my color pencils do this. I've been trying to find good ways to store them so that they don't get wet, but everything tends to be really wet. So a lot of even my nice color pencils have cracks in them. All right, now we're just going to speed through and you'll see me using all three different tools. So I'll switch back and forth between the brush pens, the water-soluble pastels, and the color pencils throughout the rest of this video. Something else I wanted to mention here is that the different mediums work really well together. I'm using the color pencils and I'm using the pastels, and then I'm spreading them around and I'm getting this lighter blue and darker blue depending on which one I'm using, which looks really nice with the liquid. So I use these all the time together. I love blending them and seeing the different colors and shades that I can get when I'm using more than just one tool at a time. Here I'm using the color pencils, I'm using the brush pens, and I'm using the water-soluble pastels. So all of them are in this little vial right here. For this completely finished look, I did bring in some colored pencils and gouache for highlights, but that was really it. I mostly used the watercolor tools that I mentioned in the video. So if you're struggling with watercolors and you have access to something like pastels or watercolor pencils or the brush pens, give them a try, see if you like them as well. And if you're a watercolorist watching this, give me some tips. I'd love to know what I can do to improve, maybe how I should handle water, especially if you live somewhere where it's very wet outside and you have any tips. I would love that because I am really struggling with keeping anything that I have dry and not moldy. So I'd love to hear more from you all, and I'll see you in the next one.